Hello and welcome to another edition of Breakfast Club from Fantasy Football Scout. Today it's double helpings of brekkie as we look forward to the biggest double game week of the season. We also welcome not one but two guests in the form of Nick and Tom from Who Got the Assist. Firstly, Nick, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thank you, Joe. Yeah, just looking forward to the double game week and use my free hit. Let's see what happens. Bit worried about that Manchester City team sheet that's going to be announced very shortly.
Yes, yeah. So no swearing at 11:30, and hopefully all our players will be there. You're free hitting. Before we talk about your team, Tom, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, Joe. Not bad. We went out for a 30th last night, but it was actually we were good. We came home at a reasonable hour just to make sure that we were fit and firing for today.
30.
That's how devoted we are to the cause. No, I'm first next week.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant 30 pints. I thought, blimey,
oh,
you're
no,
looking good.
Oh, yeah. Well, come on. So that's how Essex boys do it, mate. 30 points is a norm.
The 30th always gets me, I can tell you. I'm okay the 29th, but yes. Okay, well, welcome. Congratulations on reaching a fine age. I did that a while back.
So it's not my 30th, but no, my friend's 30th.
No, your friend's 30th. Next week. You next week. So early congratulations on that. So now, Tom, your team, we'll come to in a bit. You are not free hitting, but you are doing something else, something different. So I'll get you to explain that. But let's go into Nick's team. So Nick, you're free hitting. I'm putting up on that screen. What I want you to do is to kind of go through it by position and then just highlight any kind of key issues and that you faced along the way to make this decision. So yeah, do you want to start at the back?
Yeah, sure. So I went for De Gea in goal. I think United were worth covering for sure with their double game week in the back with Watford and Wolves. Definitely see some potential for clean sheets. So both teams are quite attacking as well, so there might be an opportunity for some Dave saves. Even if they drop the clean sheet, he might get a point or two. So yeah, he was my choice for goalkeeper. I wanted to cover Manchester United. I wasn't too sure about their defence and who the best picks are. There's obviously a lot of rumours going around about Victor Lindelof, and he's just had a baby, and people are looking at the baby blog, seeing what's happening, if he's going to be playing or if he's too tired, being a new father, which I understand. And then I think Luke Shaw's one yellow card away from suspension, so he could potentially only play one game, which is another risk. And then there's I know you're a fan of Ashley Young, we'll talk about him in a bit, but I was worried about Diego Dallo potentially playing. And the final option, Mike Smalling, I didn't really fancy him as an option either. He's very boring pick, and I didn't fancy picking him. So De Gea was sort of my Manchester United choice, at least at the back. And I'm hopeful that he can return me some points.
What is that noise going on? Is one of you hoovering while we're doing this?
I don't think it's coming from my side.
There's a background noise from somewhere.
I don't know. It may be a mouse. If either of you is using a mouse with a particularly scrapey noise.
Touchpaddy.
Okay, then you're all fine then. That's fine. It's probably just someone hoovering outside. But yeah, so okay. So you've gone for ultra safe then in goal. What about your defence then?
So defence, it's kind of safe. I'm looking at my defence, and I've gone for quite a conservative back line. With a small C, lots of centre backs there. David Luiz is my Chelsea cover. I've been a big fan of David Luiz. I think Azpilicueta was a bit too expensive for me. Alonso, he's been great in the past, but he's not been very good at all in recent weeks, and a bit of a rotation risk there as well. And between Luiz and Rudiger, I think I just preferred Luiz as the option. He does take the occasional free kicks. I think he's slightly more attacking. There's a little bit of a risk there, I guess, with Christensen might play one of the games. We've seen it that I think Luiz didn't play against Huddersfield, and Rudiger missed out against quite an easy fixture as well earlier in this season when Christensen got a game. So it's a bit of a risk, but I thought, I've got to cover the Chelsea defence as well. So I went for Luiz there. Otherwise, Schlupp, sort of the Crystal Palace pick. He's out of position, scored 4 goals to his name. It's actually the second most for defenders this season, and he's had a goal every 343 minutes, which is the highest of all defenders, with over 15 appearances. So he's a really good sort of attacking option in the defence, and with a home game against Huddersfield, I'm hoping for some attacking points there potentially.
Yeah, now while you've been speaking about Schlupp, I put some figures up for some stats for the last 4 weeks, and that shows that Schlupp over the last 4 matches, out of all defenders, he's the second best for creating chances. Only Trippier has created more over those 4 weeks. But crucially, and this is the bit I also like about him, he has had 5 shots as well. So that's so he's got that, quite a good. That's quite high for a defender, especially a 4.51 for Palace. But with those chances as well, I think he's a really good option there. So yeah, I back him. Now you've got Wilfred Bolly as well. Now you don't see him in a lot of free hit teams, but I like this pick. So tell me why you're going for him.
So yeah, I did want to have some sort of Wolves defence. I think they've been pretty solid generally, pretty attacking as well from the defenders. I'd had Doherty in my team for quite a while. I've had him for most of the season. And I couldn't keep him in there. And then I switched to Johnny for a little while, and Johnny was in my team. So I fancied Johnny at 4.3, but then I kind of looked between Johnny and Bolly, and Tom mentioned that Bolly was basically nailed down, and I thought that was a really good point. And Johnny, in comparison, there is a little bit more of a risk with the fullbacks. Like Ruben Vinnegar might get some game time. And in terms of attacking stats, Bolly's actually been pretty attacking all season. He's got 3 goals to his name. 16 goal attempts and 5 big chances taken, which is joint third for all defenders. So I thought there might be an opportunity for a goal from Bolly. I mean, they've got a nice away fixture against Burnley, which Burnley attack isn't particularly strong, so there's a high potential for a clean sheet there. And then they've got United, and United can be pretty staid sometimes going forward.
I like him now. I had Bolly for the beginning of the season. And he was a great pick actually. Although I did miss out on one of his goals. I was sitting this very seat on a breakfast club, and I had Bolly as my first sub, and he was facing Man City, and of course he scored. I did joke that he'll no doubt score to punish me, and he did. And I think he's a great shout. He's one of those players. The unexpected is going to happen. You're going to get some players with some big scores, and no one's going to own them. And I think Bolly, has that potential, because he has potential for clean sheets. I think he'll play both, and also, as we mentioned, I think he's got that goal threat as well. No, good bunch there. You've got 4-4-2. What's going on in your midfield?
So in the midfield, I think most people have 3 of those players. I think they're pretty standard picks that kind of explain themselves. Hazard, obviously, Cardiff and Brighton. You've got to go with this guy.
Yeah.
He's performed badly for me personally in the past, but I have to put our differences aside and just be like, he has to be in my team. He's second for chances created this campaign with 75, and he's joint second across all midfielders. I think he's just quality attacking player, and there's with those fixtures as well, Cardiff and Brighton, there's definitely a opportunity for Hull. And I guess with the rest of the Chelsea team, looking at the rest of their attack, there's no one really that interests me. Pedro and Willian, they get rotated quite a bit. They're not particularly attacking, and Higuain, he hasn't impressed me so far with his performances. I think Hazard's the main man for Chelsea. I think with Sterling, I think it's obviously he's another one that's in everyone's team, but I've given him the captaincy actually over Aguero, and I seem to be.
So in 3 minutes we're going to find. I think you are, and I think in 3 minutes we're going to find out whether that's an excellent move or not.
Yes, yeah, we will do. So I'll move on swiftly before I start singing Sterling's praises and talk about Moutinho, because Moutinho's he's my budget enabler. Like he seems like a bit of an odd pick perhaps, but his underlying stats are actually pretty decent. He's joint 4th for all midfielders this campaign with 59, and that's a chance every 39 minutes. And he's got 7 assists, so he is actually picking up a few chances.
He's still on a lot of set pieces, is he?
Yeah, I think so as well. Sometimes, and he's with Neves takes some of them as well. But I think he's 5.3 million, so that was my main sort of, the main appeal for him. I nearly went with Barkley, which Tom said I was crazy about doing, so I kind of changed my mind last minute on that one, and thought with Barkley, him and what's his name? Kovacic get rotated quite a bit. Barkley got a brace for England, which I was kind of like, I was on the England Barkley wagon for a bit, and then I kind of thought actually he barely plays.
Yeah.
So I brought back Moutinho, put that Moutinho back in, and the other reason for Moutinho as well is I don't have Jimenez, and I feel like I'm a little bit exposed with Jimenez. He seems like one of those players that's in everyone's team at the moment, and I'm hoping if he can act as a little bit of cover. If Jimenez gets a goal, maybe Moutinho will pick up the assist, and I'm covered slightly.
And with that 4 at the back, 4 in the midfield, you've got 2 up front, but yeah, I don't know, fairly good. you've got Aguero and Kane. So Aguero's fairly evident why you've got Aguero. Kane, though, not going to be in that many squads, and he's certainly not going to be in many non-free hit squads. So what's your thinking with Kane? Fixtures too tough, or you think he's an essential for this week?
Well, the thinking was, it's my free hit. I can afford Kane. I can get a team with Kane, Sterling, Hazard, Aguero and Pogba with my budget. So why not do that? And he is a differential. He's a quality differential to have. On my free hit, I can get Kane. I'm not worried about the bench. I can make the bench as cheap as possible, still have some decent defenders and a goalkeeper and Kane as well. So I thought, why not, use the budget to its fullest, get this guy in. He's ridiculously expensive, but he does score a lot of goals. His stats actually are pretty similar to Aguero in terms of the season. He's only just behind. I think he's actually beating Aguero as well on the shots on target metric for the season. I think top for all forwards. And, Liverpool is a tough game. They're a very solid defence. But I thought, why not get him in? Then they've got Crystal Palace at home. It's easy chance that he could get a couple of goals there. And, there'll be a real differential against some of the other people that don't have this option to free hit and get him in.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, it's a strong lineup, and it's probably one of the best I've seen with Kane and Hazard. Now, I tried to get Kane in. I'd like to get Kane in, but I just couldn't work it out. And I thought I'd done it with a 4-3-3 yesterday, and I posted it on Twitter. Then realised it was actually a 4-3-2, so I couldn't really do that. So that wasn't good. Tom, just before we reveal the Manchester City news, now I just want to make just a quick preview of your team. Now you are going to be triple captaining Aguero over Sterling. So that's obviously, we're going to find out whether Aguero is starting in a Mo. And because you're not free hitting this week, is that your trump card? You're getting that triple captain? Because of course, us free hitters, we can't use it this week.
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, it was just the whole kind of thing came about like in the beginning when the kind of double game week was being planned out, and we found out there was going to be a blank in 31 and 33. The team that I had in front of me wasn't good enough to dead end into 31 and 33, so to speak, without taking a lot of hits. So I thought, well, I'm going to plan for 32 and make all my transfers around 32. And as you can see, I've got probably the front line that a lot of people do have for free hitting. The defence is definitely nowhere near that level, which is where you guys have got a big advantage. But the rest of the kind of the sword side of the team is well covered. And yes, the triple captain is a bit of a trump card. I mean, I really was looking at Sterling for an awful lot. It was just because of the extra minutes over the international break. I felt that Aguero being rested was the bit of the factor there, and the difference between them was very clear. Okay, not very clear at all.
No, that was very clear, and I think it's a good move. And I'm a bit nervous. I'd originally sort of planned doing something similar, and then a lot of my players that would have helped me do the similar tactic you're doing got injured, and it just didn't work out for me in the end. But let's do a team reveal. Okay, Manchester City. They've travelled and they face Fulham, and their team will be Ederson, Zinchenko, Laporte. Phew, I've got him in my team. Otamendi. Okay, well, Walker. There's going to be a few people saying few to that one because he's potentially quite a big scorer this week. Gundogan, Bernardo Silva. No, you've got to phrase that right. Bernardo, comma, and Silva. That'll be David Silva. De Bruyne, and here we go. Drum roll. Sterling, woohoo, and Aguero, woohoo. So this is good. This is good news. On the bench, Muric, Danilo, Stones, Fernandinho, Sane. Bad luck, Sane owners getting caught out again. Mahrez and Jesus. But let's have a look at Fulham. Hello. Now we've got a surprise. So there's no surprises really in the Man City lineup. Okay, I'll go from the back with Fulham. Rico, brilliant. He's absolute pants. So lots of goals incoming. He's got Christie, Fosu Mensah, Lamarchand, Chambers, Brian, and now do I pronounce this right? Anguissa. I barely ever mention Fulham players this season because they're just the blokes that get beaten. Tom Kearney, Ayeti, I hope I pronounced that right. Floyd, let's call him. Ryan Babel and Ryan Sessegnon. Hello a minute. There's no Mitrovic. No Mitrovic. So either he's picked up an injury, he's feeling ill, he's had enough, he's been beaten up at yoga by another teammate. I don't know. So interesting lineup there. They've gone for all the Ryans up top. All the Ryans they can muster. They've got up top. So no Mitrovic there. So Tom, we've got your team up on the screen. We've already mentioned that you've gone for Aguero captain. Can you just recap quickly what you're doing with your chips when you're wildcarding, when you're free hitting, what you're doing, and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. So I free hit in game week 31, qualified success, as regular listeners to my pod will know. Qualified success, and I didn't do very well, but I brought in Sadio Mane and did better than I would have done through appearance points alone. Obviously fantastic. And obviously triple captaining this week, wildcard next week, because I think I'm going to have 10 players in transition through it. I've used Ben Crellin's planner to optimise that for myself. And then game week 35, I will be bench boosting.
Okay.
That has helped out a lot by the fact that Bournemouth have Fulham at home that week, and Liverpool are away to Cardiff. So I'll have some single game week because it won't be a 15 out of 15 in terms of doublers. But yeah, I think that kind of suited my team and suited me really to do something a little bit different.
I think it's worked out well for you. I've been listening to your podcast, obviously, and I'm thinking, when you said what players you've got each week, I thought, yeah, that works. That works for you. It didn't work for me, and I think your triple captaincy, those who are using it on Sterling and Aguero this week, I think they're going to more than match those that are free hitting. I just have a feeling about that. But that might be, that kind of bias because that's not a position I'm in. Let's have a look at the rest of your team then. Guita in defence, in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Doherty and Van Dijk in a 3-4-3, and in your forward midfield is Son, Sterling, Hazard, Pogba, and then up front alongside your triple captain Aguero, you've got Jimenez and Rashford. Out of all of those, any that you want to particularly mark out as being either players that might get you one up on the free hitters, or indeed where you think your team is a bit deficient to the free hitters?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the key deficiency is the defence. I don't have any Chelsea cover. I don't have any City cover. City, particularly, the defence was very, very good over the last six. For example, over the last six, they conceded the fewest shots in the box, the fewest shots in total, and the fewest big chances, level with Liverpool on 4. And interestingly as well, they conceded the least chance from headed attempts with just 3, and Mitrovic was the big header of the ball. So maybe Scott Parker listened to our pod and thought, well, I'm not going to play Mitrovic because Man City are so effective at curtailing headed attempts.
Well, that would be an ambitious management move. I don't think
my worry is no Fernandinho, and Otamendi means that there's going to be a Babel goal in there, isn't there? That clean sheet's not going to survive.
I know. That's why I didn't go double.
The City defence.
I didn't go double Chelsea. I didn't go double City or double Manchester United because all of them annoyingly concede. The Liverpool, the Babel goal against Liverpool was crushing. It was crushing not as bad for me. I only had one defender, but it was just like, what the hell? What kind of week is this? Huddersfield score 3. Babel scores against Liverpool. I suppose weirder would have been when Babel was at Liverpool and Babel actually scoring for Liverpool would have been more unusual. But I can see. I like. I think you've got the key blokes though. You look at the attack: Son, Sterling, Hazard, Pogba, Aguero, Jimenez, Rashford. Well, that's mine. That's my team. And you got a triple captain. That's why I look at your team and think, I think you can cover that. Okay, let's have a look at my team then. Now, as you can see, it's very, very similar to Tom's, and not similar to Nick's, which is weird because Nick's free hitting, but I've just gone for a different tact really. I've gone for Son, Hazard, Pogba, and Sterling in the midfield. Rashford's I'm just betting that he's going to put in some minutes this week. Aguero, my captain, Jimenez, and at the back, I've ummed and ahed about this. I've been following Lindelof's wife on Instagram, not stalking her, just following on Instagram, and trying to get people, as many people do, trying to get people who speak Swedish to decipher the things. It seems there's been some issues with their baby, and they've been in hospital. But it seems that their baby is fine, so that's good news, we hope. And but they're very tired. But she said her husband has been going into training, and Manchester United this week put up, which I think was a pre-done interview, one of those "we will beat them" kind of things from Lindelof. Oh, Watford are tough. No, they're not, and we will beat them. You'd hope so, like duh. And it's one of those type of interviews. They put that up, but at the same time, he wasn't pictured going to the Lowry, but he could meet up with them late anyway. It's all of that adds up to maybe will he play? I don't know now. So I've gone for Ashley Young, and one of the reasons I've gone for him. So alongside Schlupp, Kepper and Laporte, I've ended up with literally woke up with Ashley Young in my side, and I'll put the attacking defenders stats up again, and that shows as I said with Schlupp. Schlupp's there with doing very well with 8 chances created. Trippier there with 10 as well, but Young's third there to Schlupp with 6 chances created. He's taken 13 corners and he's had 8 successful crosses. Only Trippier has had more, as well as a couple of goal attempts. I think he's, even though I've kind of gone for him because of rotation bits, I actually think he's got potentially a higher ceiling. And I seem to remember, now Ashley Young was a Watford player and he left, as a lot of good players do. They leave teams like Watford and they go to better things. If you can believe it, at the time the better place was Villa, and he went there, and he never really gets a good reception from Watford fans, but so he does like playing them. He's one of these players that really does enjoy a bit of a fight, and he enjoys a kind of a bit of bounce. And in November 2017, so not too far away, he scored a brace against the Hornets and was voted man of the match, quite rightly. He was sensational. He basically suddenly turned it on, and I'm hoping we'll get a bit of that as well. The reason I put this table up as well, because Trippier was someone I was really considering. I do like defenders with a bit of attacking threat, and sadly I didn't find room for him in the end. He was just that little bit too expensive, so I went for Son in the end. So I'm hoping for the best there. I had a look at my team on Rate My Team on Fantasy Football Scout, which is a very obvious plug for that delightful service in the members area, and they estimate that my team will be getting 125.8 points this week, but if I'd have captained Sterling, it's actually not much of a difference. So let's say, for sake of argument, about 124 with my Aguero captain. And I think there's been quite a few free hit teams have got similar scores, and I suspect actually, Tom, your team would actually have that score as well, taking into account that triple captaincy slot. So I don't know. I don't know if either of you two have any particular thoughts on my team. The deadline's gone now, so you're free to say, "Oh my God, what are you doing, you madman?" But yeah, any thoughts?
No, I quite like the Son pick, and there was a really good point, which was widely misunderstood actually on Twitter by FPL Osmo this week. But he's actually had a bit of a rest now. Like I know that the form hasn't quite been there, but people are saying, "Oh, he looks tired." I mean, he has played 2 games in the international break, but before that, he played 78 minutes against Arsenal, 80 minutes against Southampton on the 9th of March, and then he had 3 weeks off, basically until the Bolivia game the other day. So I'd imagine he's fit, raring to go. And because they haven't got a game on the weekend now, they're not in the FA Cup, of course. There's nothing stopping them from playing the 2 games. Same with United, actually. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing stopping them effectively playing full strength 2 games in a row and then having kind of a few days off before Champions League. So yeah, I quite like the Son pick. So I think a lot of people have been like, for good reason, looking at Kane and thinking, well, this is how I differentiate over people who haven't got a free hit. As you just mentioned, you've got Rashford and Jimenez. I've got those 2 as well. So maybe Nick's way of going with Kane is like the sword pick has been going around recently, rather than kind of your setup looks a bit kind of shieldy to me.
I'm a shieldy kind of guy though.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, no, I think that with Son as well. So Son is prone to a lot of myths this week. And also a lot of good stats and facts being now one of the ones was one of these theories about Spurs. You get this every now and again, and I've been guilty of it as well. The famous Dembele theory that obviously Kane doesn't do well when Dembele was playing, and that was accurate until it wasn't. and that's very similar with Son. So people are saying Kane's back, Son's points have dropped off, therefore. Son's not a good option. Kane steals points. What's happened is that Kane has scored a goal or so each match. He scored quite well, Son has been knackered. But I looked over the season. Son has scores of 8 points or more in 8 game weeks. And of these, 5 were when Kane played significant minutes, and 3 were when Kane was absent or only made a very brief cameo. So I look at that and I think, well, that's just not true. The history says that both can score with or without each other. It doesn't really matter. Obviously, Spurs are better with their best players, which Son and Kane are. A few other things. Neil has mentioned on a couple of our videos earlier in the week, he's been watching the South Korea matches, and he noted, and other people did as well, that Son's looking much better now. So he's, as you said, he's sort of had his rest now, and so I think it's more of a hope. You two guys, you're known for being statsmen on your podcast, and I am as well. So I'm kind of going against the stats because the recent stats are poor. So I'm hoping for an upturn. That's a real kind of glass half full kind of thing. And just final point, I just wanted to mention on Spurs. This has been mentioned as well. The last 4 Premier League matches have been 1-0 to Spurs against Palace. So I've never seen a trend quite like that, which is exactly the same. So if history is on its side, one of Kane and Son are going to score, someone's going to assist them, and that'll be it. So that makes me think that Trippier is quite good. Just looking ahead, really, we always like to look ahead a little bit. Game week 33, for myself and Nick, our game week 31 sides are coming back. Nick, do you feel happy about? Are you going to be happy, welcoming him with open arms, or just like, oh God, not you lot again?
Yeah, I think I'll be reasonably happy with the team. Obviously, have the triple Liverpool back. I was set up quite well for 31. I don't even know if I'm going to do many changes. I might even just do a quite a boring goalkeeper swap because it'll be Fabianski returning for a Chelsea match, or it might be, I think I've got Arnautovic, maybe he'll go as well because I don't quite like that West Ham Chelsea game. Have a look at some.
You haven't got Anderson, have you?
Rondon, actually. I was thinking about Rondon maybe as a pick.
Yeah, no, it's good idea.
It's just for 1 week though, because I'll be wild carding in 34. So it'll probably be either Arnie or Fab that leave the team, but I'm pretty happy. I mean, the 31 team didn't score particularly well, but I managed to get the green arrow thanks to just Mane and Josh King. So, because I think Josh King got a brace of 13 points, but it was a low scoring 31. But 33, I'm set up as in I've got, because it's a blank game week, I've got 11 players playing, so I don't need to worry too much.
And who's possible captain? Are you looking at Liverpool, Chelsea?
Possibly a Liverpool player. Possibly, I probably won't be a Chelsea player because I don't trust Hazard enough, to be honest. So it might be Salah actually, even though he's punished me quite heavily the last few weeks. Or maybe I'll just go with Mane. Maybe I'll go with Mane.
I mean, I noticed that Klopp this week was bigging up Salah, saying he's been on holiday. Salah's been posting up pics of him on the beach. Says he's come back. Obviously a bit of spin there. We hope he's coming back. Tom, you're free hitting game week 33.
No, I'm wild card.
You're wild carding game week 33. Wow! So this is a really exciting time. It's really exciting. So for me and Nick, it's just like, oh, I might get rid of a West Ham player. You're like, my God, get the spreadsheet. You're gonna have one of those walls like where where those people searching for a serial killer, and you're looking at, you've got little bits of string between all the. You're gonna have So what's your early thoughts then?
Well, I think. It's an interesting one because obviously I've got to transition to 34 when Kane's got that Huddersfield game when I think a lot of people will be buying him in, and when Man City are away to Crystal Palace. But I've obviously got no interest in them being in my 33 team. It was a bit of a compromise, obviously, and I think it was a little bit of a less obvious solution to wildcard in 33. So I can see why a lot of people have gone for the way you guys have done it. But I'm looking at getting 10-11 out basically. And I think that Southampton and Arsenal are actually very useful because they've got a 33 blank game and a 35 double. Unfortunately, that does mean that I'm going to have a couple of Southampton players playing Liverpool and 3 Liverpool players in the same game. But I mean, it's just 1 week, and I think hopefully it will be okay compared to. I mean, my rank is not the same as you guys, so it's probably more acceptable for me to do it this way. And I'll probably be I'm going to wave goodbye to Mo Salah for the rest of the year, I think.
Who knows? I think I will in 34 as well. I think I will too.
But, I think I'm going to probably stick the captaincy either on Mane or for the Monday night hilarity of Eden Hazard doing absolutely nothing, maybe getting fouled and David Luiz scoring the resulting free kick, something like that.
For your bench as well, Brighton look quite good because they've got doubles. So have you got any Brighton players in mind?
Yeah. So I'll probably have the triple, Ryan, Duffy and Knockers, attorneys at law. I think the three of them are going to be probably just held for 33, 34, 35. So they're the double, which is Tim Horton's reference for any Canadians out there. And I think that it's going to be, it'll be okay. Basically, I'm not going to be able to get a strong team in the same sense that people who plan for 31 and 33 have got a strong team. But in the same way, I think I'm hoping that because I'm doing things slightly differently, it will all kind of, it'll leave now and then. I'll be able to to compete with the strategy that I've got. But it does mean having Leno and Kolasinac, which I'm not too sure on, but they've got a game.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I asked is as well because free hitters like me and Nick who are looking to play a wildcard after that. I always start thinking about a game week or two in advance. I'm starting to have thoughts about this. I'm looking at perhaps Brighton players now. Arsenal as well are very intriguing. So I'm wondering where to go there. Do I dump Salah? I mean, I think I do dump Salah. Do I get Kane? I think I probably will in game week 34. And it's all these kinds of issues as well. Just before we go, I'm just going to put up the goals imminent table so that people can get excited if they've got any of these players. Salah, he's due. He's always due at the moment, but we hope for the best there. Higuain is those 18 goal attempts, 13 in the box and 5 on target. It's pretty reasonable there. It could be a few more on target, but Higuain owners could be doing well there as well. Barkley, if someone took a punt on Barkley, he's due to score in the Premier League. Townsend as well. A few people mentioned Townsend in the Twitter sphere this week and got laughed at, but not I. I think he's a perfectly reasonable shout to have there. 5.8. Eriksen, a player I considered, is due to score at some point soon, and Rashford's there, so that's why I've got Rashford there. People are saying he's off form, but he's been having the shots, and he's been getting a lot in the box. So 10 shots, 6 in the box there. But I think I don't know. There's lots to ponder, and I'm sure all our dreams are going to be crushed. But in the meantime, let's be full of hope. We've got 40 minutes before kickoff, so we can relax, and then the horrible carnage can begin. But for now, Tom and Nick, thanks for joining me, and good luck with the game week.
Yeah, I hope to see you and speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.